What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, or welcome in if you're new. In this video, we'll be talking about HEX. Can we see a legendary bounce incoming in the next few days? So the reason I bring that up is, just look at this chart, right? This wick that we saw today is super long, or we saw this yesterday to be precise. We had a wick down to 7.3 cents, and it got eaten right back up immediately to around the 13-cent level. And we actually dumped from 16 cents at the beginning of the day. So if you actually measure what size pullback this was from the top of the wick to the bottom of the wick, it looks like it was a 66% dip. And we've seen these before, right? If you measure just from the candles, from daily candles, then it's more so like a 23% dip. But yeah, man, 66%, it came right into the bottom channel and actually beneath it. And if we get rid of these moving averages, then you can see that, yeah, we hit the top of the channel and then we came back right down to the bottom of the channel. So that's pretty interesting. We're above our 20-day MA, 21-day EMA, which is a good sign. Those are currently approaching the 11-12 cent level, respectively. And we're currently sitting at around 13 cents. So still in an uptrend, and the buying pressure here looks absolutely insane. To have this bounce, a bounce of this magnitude, is pretty impressive to say the least. The reason I say could we see a legendary bounce incoming on top of what we've already seen is because of the following. So I'm going to throw us back to history for a little bit, and then I kind of have a flow in mind of how I'm going to bring us into where we are now and what we could be seeing. So for those of you that look at this chart, if you are an OG, then a little part of you dies when you look at this chart, or you have some nostalgia because this is the Bitcoin chart, and we all know what happened after the $20,000 run up, right? Up to 19K, December of 2017. Everyone remembers that. So the reason I'm bringing up this chart is for this formation specifically, where we had a waterfall event where the price of Bitcoin dipped about 50%. It pretty much cut in half to the 3,100 or so dollar level. And what did we see after that is the reason I'm bringing this chart up. It's this bottoming formation, which can technically be referred to as an ascending triangle after a downtrend, right? So we see this downtrend, this waterfall move down, a capitulation style event, right? It's 50% dip, and then we see this bottoming formation, which again looks and can be referred to as an ascending triangle, characterized by, it's pretty simple, and we've talked about these on the channel before. So if this is something you already know, you can skip through this. If you're new, then bear with me. You essentially have this type of characterization of this formation: higher lows with a common flat top level which you're testing multiple times. So this level you could argue is tested once here, 2, 3, 4, you could say 5, and the 6th time we tested it, it broke to the upside. And we pretty much never saw levels like this one over here, this actual bottom, ever since, right? The funny part is, generally with these ascending triangle formations, price comes back to test the top, right? The flat top of the triangle. And, a lot of people were expecting that. A lot of people were expecting a lot of things during this run up, actually, but let's keep it contained here. Did price ever retest the top of it? If you waited a whole year, you got your chance. If you waited almost a whole year, you could have bought this, right? It took a while, but you could have gotten it. I just find that a little interesting, but the point is we haven't seen these levels ever since. And if you measure from that local bottom to the local top we had just a few months ago, then you see that it's about a 20x move last time I measured it, 1970%, so about a 20.7x move. Or is it, hold on, is it the other way around? Yeah, about a 20.7x% move. So yeah, about 20x. That's pretty good. That's pretty legendary, right? We never saw these prices again. Now, if you look at HEX, then look at what happened after Big Payday. We had a waterfall event, or capitulation style event, 78% dip if you count it sort of from this pennant when it actually broke. I mean, you could count it or measure it from the top. If you do that, it's about an 86% dip. If you measure it from where this sort of pennant broke, it's about a 79, 80% dip. But what did we see after that? So our capitulation candles, and then our nice ascending triangle, bottoming formation. Now, this isn't just crypto. I think this applies to pretty much any chart, really. I'm pretty sure it's applicable. But it seems to be common in crypto, as I'm showing you examples here. This is actually HEX. And this was when it was back at the 20% of a penny level, right? And then we had a resistance at about half a penny a few times, right? A bunch of times. Let's see, once, 2, 3, 4, 5, some chop here, right? So about the seventh or eighth time is when this level actually broke. And notice how HEX actually had a more textbook retest of this level compared to something like Bitcoin, where it took it a whole year and you have this weird intracycle bubble. On HEX, it's way more textbook, where you had just a little rally up and then back down to actually test this level. So if you are a quote unquote safe trader, I don't like to use that term, but generally speaking, a confirmation of an ascending triangle or a bullish formation is a good sign and might be a good entry point. As you can tell, it was a good entry point. And the reason it's kind of not as safe beneath it is because you don't know if it's actually going to form as such. So you saw what happened there, and obviously we've never seen levels like a fifth of a penny again, as a matter of fact. If you measure from that bottom, let's get rid of some of these formations and zoom out to give you a better understanding of what we're talking about. That dip we were just looking at was at this point in the chart, and if we measure, pretty much in 237 days, we saw another 107x or so from the bottom, from about a fifth of a penny to 20 cents. That's about 100x if you do the math. Simple division. Now we get to where we are now. That's kind of circular, but this is what I'm trying to show you here. Is we have this forming again, and let me get rid of let's just leave it like this, okay? Because I don't want to get rid of this channel that we've been looking at, the yellow parallel channel. But take a look at this, right? We've had a 50% capitulation style wick, about 54% from, let's say, the top of this upper channel, 54%. And if you measure it from the top, we already looked at this, it's about 66%. Or this is Uniswap V2. Oh, right, we're not measuring from the top of the wick, which is actually back here. Right, so if you measure from here, it's about a 66%. There you go, 66% dip. And if measured from just this recent local top, it is a 58% dip. So again, a similar large capitulation style event followed by an ascending triangle type formation, where we have, again, a higher low, nice wick on that one, higher low, and you keep seeing it. Oops, move this guy over here. Just to highlight my point, I'm going to point all these out. Now, this is a 15-minute time frame, so it's less significant than something like a daily time frame. But again, if you zoom out, look at this wick. It's just absolutely nuts. So, I mean, you can argue this is definitely a lower time frame, and so it's not as significant, and I agree completely. I'm just pointing out a fractal, right? A fractal on a smaller time scale. I'm not saying it's going to play out, right? I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is financial advice. All that generic disclaimer stuff. But this looks good to me. I wouldn't be selling personally. Did I expect such a dip? Absolutely not. So that does definitely throw off some of what I expected for the pulse chain curves, for example. So we're actually going to touch on that in the next video, right? I like to alternate between HEX and pulse chain videos. But just to kind of give you a brief kind of preview, if you go to lookintohex.com/PLS, we are already on this part of the curve where it's ramping up, but you see that you're sort of sacrificing power versus time was actually dipped alongside with this HEX dip, assuming you're sacrificing HEX. So I'll keep you updated on this. I actually have some really interesting, cool new angles on all of this stuff, so that'll be the next video. But yeah, definitely leave a thumbs up if you like this kind of Hex content, and subscribe most definitely. Let's get to 4K subs. We're almost there. But that's pretty much all I want to say in this video. Appreciate you watching. Let's keep an eye on these markets, and I'll keep you updated on what I see in the charts. Just this is all entertainment, right? We're just having a chat here. So leave your comments down below on what you think. I answer every comment. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.